You can fight NPCs and players while in your transport mode, whether it's acrobatics, flight, or super speed, but from what I've played, flight is the only one that gives you a real tactical advantage, especially in PvP. Flight does have its downsides however. If you get hit by an NPC or a player while using it, you'll slow down significantly. You won't be able to go at full speed again until you are out of combat. At level 9 however, you unlock the chance to take some combat skills based on the transport power you pick during character creation. So in this way your transport ability directly affects combat.
Get away!
From what I played, there has been no phasing whatsoever. Enemies that you kill at level 1 will still be there at level 30.
Get away from me!
As far as combat goes, it does seem a little easy at the moment. I haven't gotten myself into a situation where I can just spam my powers to get out of it. But to be fair, most combat intricacies happen in the late game. We're going to have to see how this one pans out.
You can't stop all of our war.
There are two main land masses in DC Universe Online, the first being Metropolis, and then Gotham. They're not very big and only take a couple minutes of flying to get from one end to the other. The environments are actually quite boring. It's a massive city which is almost completely flat apart from the buildings. Not to mention, the only real difference between Gotham and Metropolis is the time of day. Metropolis is always in daytime, Gotham is always in nighttime. Although Gotham does have Arkham Asylum, so that's pretty cool. Loot is pretty interesting in this game. Yes, you'll get your typical stat upgrades of more health and more power, but you also unlock styles. Styles can be obtained by finding or equipping a piece of armor that has a style you haven't unlocked yet. I think styles was a great idea. It lets you upgrade your armor without ruining your style, and also if you find new styles that you like, your character's not going to look the same from level 1 to level 30. And yes, there are some uber looking armor sets. In the Hall of Doom you can go down and have a look at some vendors who you might recognise selling level 30 epic armor. You have a couple different options when it comes to endgame. You have alerts, raids, and duos. Alerts can be done at lower level, but at level 30 you unlock the option to do hard versions. Raids are only 8 players, and you have to be level 30 to do them. Duos also require level 30, and there's this for you and another friend. So far the only raids I've heard about is Arkham Asylum and the Batcave. Fishnets, no, there were no fishnets, sorry. There are only 2 other areas worth mentioning, one being the Watchtower and one being the Hall of Doom. The Hall of Doom and the Watchtower are big player hubs for villains and heroes respectively. These places are huge. They contain vendors, place to respec, a bank and mail. Your power determines what role you will play in a group scenario. Every single power can do DPS, but some can also fill other roles. Fire can do tanking, gadgets is control, ice is also tanking, mental is also control, nature is healing, and sorcery is also healing. Weapons don't really have as big an impact on group play as powers. They're more to do with your personal preference and how cool you want your dude to look. I think once you hit level 9 or 10 you can spec into a new weapon set, although you do have to buy a new weapon to go along with it. DC Universe is a really interesting game. The combat is a little too simple for my liking at the moment. It really does come down to how fast can you hit left click, how fast can you spam your powers. But this is really just leveling, and I'm hard pressed to think of another MMO where leveling and questing is really hard. You know, leveling and questing are the mundane portions of combat. It's really when it comes down to PvP and endgame, which I think is where it's going to get interesting. PvP is already very interesting if you are on a PvP server, since it's on everywhere all the time. But endgame, in group situations I have been in, it's been very difficult to see what's going on because it's been so frantic. They do keep questing interesting by having cutscenes every now and then. The Joker might pop in to tell you how you're doing, and voice acting is quite common, which is a good change.